At Panem 360, we have the pleasure to have with us today two young singers, Amelia Wawrzon and Theodore McAlindon. They are two singers who are currently doing an internship at the Canadian Vocal Art Institute, the CVAI or ICAV, and they will both be participating in concerts for the festival that is ongoing right now. One on the 28th of July, and they'll also be doing performances for two opera productions. One will be with the Fledermaus and the four-note opera. So, hello guys, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thanks so much for having us.
Our pleasure. So, just before we get in the nit of things, why don't you introduce yourself? Where you come from? What is your musical background, and what made you want to pursue a career in music and specifically in voice?
So I'm Amelia, and I'm a soprano from Australia. And for me, I mean, I always grew up playing the piano and doing classical ballet. So I was exposed to classical music from a young age. But then it was really when I started secondary school, so when I was about 11 or 12, and I had a singing teacher. I started private singing lessons. Before that, I was always in a choir, in the Australian Girls Choir. But when I started singing lessons with this particular singing teacher, she really inspired me, and she herself was an opera singer. And I discovered the whole style, and we discovered that it really suited my voice kind of naturally. And I discovered that you can sing in actually specifically French. I loved singing in French
Yeah.
and other languages, and the music was just so beautiful. So the rest is kind of history from there. I went on and I did my study in Melbourne, where I'm from, at the Melbourne Conservatorium of Music. And then, so I did undergrad and then an opera course. And then I went to the Royal Academy of Music in London to study my master's. And yeah, so now I'm out in the world, and it's really exciting to be pursuing this. But really, I think it's the teachers that you meet along the way that really inspire you, and that was the case with me.
Right. And for you too, what musical background?
Yeah. So I'm from the UK. I was born in a city called Leeds. I grew up in West Yorkshire. My mother was a pianist, so I always had music around me. She was always playing Albéniz or Brahms or Chopin or Mozart. So it was something that was always there for me. And I wasn't a chorister growing up or anything like that, but I certainly did a lot of singing as a young treble. And then, when my voice broke around sort of 12, 13, it was difficult to navigate through that. But I, did what I could. I was in, various musical groups at school. But when I was 16, there was an opportunity to undertake a choral scholarship in a cathedral called Ely Cathedral,
Yeah.
which is in not far from Cambridge in England. And I did that for 2 years. And at the time, I was commuting every Saturday to London. I was doing the Junior Royal Academy of Music. And then after that, I did 4 years of study at 4 years of undergraduate study at the Royal Academy of Music, and then 2 years on the master's program. And now I'm going on to the opera program there as well. So what has inspired me to do it? Well, I would just say that I've never lived without it, so I've never known anything else.
Yeah.
I can't live without it. It's just something that moves kind of synonymously with me.
So you two will be performing in different concerts. You, Theodore, in a symphonic concert on the 28th, and an opera concert on the 10 and 11. So as you, Amelia, you will be performing in Die Fledermaus on the 10th on one of the two dates. I don't remember which one, but you'll be performing on the for the Fledermaus. So how are the rehearsals going for the both of you?
Yeah, so I'm very lucky to be performing in the soprano solo in Beethoven's Ninth Symphony.
Oh, I didn't get
Which
that information. Sorry. I didn't. So you both are performing in the Beethoven. All right. Sorry.
So I'm doing the Beethoven, and Theo
Yeah,
is doing opera,
bass.
the four-note opera.
Mhm.
And also we'll also have parts in Die Fledermaus as well.
Okay.
And yeah, so we're really excited. So the Beethoven is coming up quite soon, and we had the rehearsal with the orchestra a couple of days ago,
Yeah.
which is sounding amazing. And any opportunity for an emerging artist to have to sing with an orchestra, especially such an important piece of music. The
Yeah.
Beethoven 9 is historically just such a magnanimous piece.
Absolutely.
To be performing that is really such an amazing opportunity. So I'm really, really excited for that on the weekend. And also, Die Fledermaus staging rehearsals, we haven't started yet, but I'm sure it'll be a lot of fun. It's a great show, and all of the people that we've met on the program so far, our fellow colleagues and the teachers, they're all amazing people. So I'm sure that it will be great.
Right. And I mean, I suppose for you, Amelia, performing in a symphonic concert versus a operatic concert with a performance in itself, is the preparation different in some ways on how you approach the score and the music, or is it just a walk in the park in a way, or is it different? Because I know that Beethoven's choral writing or solo writing is quite harsh, and it's quite, dense and difficult for the voices. So how is it going for you on that part?
So I would say that the preparation is similar, learning it exactly as it was written, things like that. But I would say it is interesting you say that. I mean, it is an orchestral piece, but I do think it requires quite operatic voices to sing it, because it's big and it's kind of relentless. There's a lot of coloratura.
Mhm.
And yeah, but I would say we're always trying to, in every form of singing, whether that's singing lieder, art song, or opera, always trying to find the character of the piece and what the composer was trying to say and conveying that emotion. So I would say in that way, that through line is always similar. And yeah, but definitely it's slightly different conventions. It's not staged. It's
Yeah.
really all about the music. So we get to really let that shine and just sing out and really enjoy it. So it's different, but it's exciting to be a part of.
I suppose so. Theodore, you will be performing, and I'm correct on this one, I hope, the bass role in the four-note opera, which is a modern opera that is not, usually performed. So, can you tell us a little bit more about what the opera is about, and what role do you play in it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it almost does exactly what it says on the tin. It uses four notes throughout the entire opera. You've got to really make the most
Okay.
of what you have on the page.
Mhm.
It's quite nice in the sense, I mean, a lot of the modern music you hear nowadays, modern opera, is a lot more atonal and a lot more
Mhm.
difficult for the average listener to digest.
Mhm.
So it's quite nice in that way. There are some relatively decent melodies in it in comparison to some of the other contemporary opera I've done in the UK. So yeah, it's a really good experience. I mean, I'm looking forward to getting straight into the rehearsals and seeing what the directors want from it. So it's not one that's often done. So I'm looking forward to performing in it.
Yeah, and what's the story about it? Did you looked at it a little bit? What's the story about this four-note opera?
Well, it's just a parody. It's literally a
It's
parody
parody. Okay,
on the five different voices that you have. So you
okay,
have bass, tenor,
okay.
uh, and it's essentially saying what the roles of each of those
Okay.
voices play, stereotypical roles, which those five voices play in opera, I would say.
So it's going to be a really comedic night because there will be the Fledermaus and the four-note opera in both alternating. So it's going to
It's
be a
like
real,
talking, essentially. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it literally could not be more different. So.
Yeah,
yeah,
I'm not more musical, but I think definitely the whole evening will be fun,
yeah,
I'd say, from start to finish, but very contrasting, but
yeah,
very
absolutely.
fun.
Yes, absolutely. Theodore, you are on your second time at the ICAV, and this year you brought your significant other with you. What made you want to come back to the ICAV, and what is the importance of such an internship or yeah for young singers? Yeah.
Well, and I think the main thing above all, and I've reiterated this to all my colleagues on the course and the people that run the course, is that the main thing above all is their approach to music and their positivity.
Mhm.
Culturally, it's not such a thing in England to be so positive. I would say it's much more stiff upper lip and get on with it, and praise is hard to come by, which is good in some respects, but sometimes you need a bit of positivity and you need a bit of reassurance, and that's what the course gives you. And the rigorous training that you get across the whole month, it feels at times like you're getting 3 months of 3 terms of conservatoire training into 1 month, and if there are things that technically you need to work on, they will continuously reinvest in that, and it's something that I remember coming back last year from ECAV, and people could really hear the difference at the academy, and I remember people asking me about it, and I said to them, this is literally like the cheat code to singing. If you want to improve on things, you go and apply for this course. It's absolutely excellent, and I would advise any singer to apply for it, definitely.
Yeah, and for you, Amelia, as a first experience, how's it doing, and is it also something that in Australia is not as common, or is not, like Theodore said, a little bit more, uh, difficult to combine and a little more stressful, and where there is not such as positivity as maybe as they're here, and the approach is certainly different, I suppose. So, what is your take on that?
I would say, so in Australia, we have fantastic training as well. And I'd say we're similar culture to Canada in many ways. So,
Yeah.
um, but the only thing is we don't tend to have these kind of intensive summer schools.
Okay.
We do our night study, but in this particular case, it's great to just get into it and have this intensive experience of all of this coaching on your repertoire, and to be doing a performance. And for example, like we were here for 3 days and we were already doing the gala performance.
Yeah.
And it was like, wow, we really hit the ground running, where they really prioritize us having as many learning experiences as possible. And the amount of learning that we can do in a short period of time, as Theo said, is just amazing. And the other thing is that they have really flown in people from all over the world to coach us as well. Nicole Carr and Etienne Depuis, who run the program, they have collected coaches that they have worked with in some of the most famous opera houses around the world, and throughout the training, the people that they think are right to work with young singers and help them develop. And they've brought them here to this program. So it's quite a concentrated environment. There are quite a few coaches. I'm not sure exactly how many, maybe like 10 coaches, something like that. And at this stage, in the second week, we're spending all day, every day, just on coachings with these various coaches from around the world. So that's something that is definitely unique about this program, and definitely what makes it worth coming for to Canada. I've never been to Canada. It's so far away from Australia. And I relate to what Theo's saying, having studied at the Royal Academy as well. Obviously, the training is excellent there as well. But there's something about being, especially in Montreal, and being in this very open, positive, and relaxed learning environment that really helps you to soar and unlock things in your singing that maybe you wouldn't in a normal kind of academic environment, that you can really kind of let yourself go and explore new things. And that's what I have loved about it.
Yeah. So you both are, singers of new generations, and both of you are quite already well trained, and you have a lot of singing opportunities in your career. Just looking at you, Amelia, you will be performing a world premiere opera, an Arabian opera, the first one that will be sung in Arabic. So that's a regular experience, I suppose.
Yes, that was amazing. So that was the last project I just finished on.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was amazing. So the lead of that project was Dame Sarah Connolly,
Mhm.
and the rest of the cast were all highly experienced, amazing European singers as well. So I was very lucky to be I was playing the young bride in that opera,
Mhm.
and learn from all of them as well and have that experience was amazing. But yeah, so that was in Saudi Arabia as well. So this kind of path takes us all over the world,
Yeah.
and we just take everything that we can from each experience. And now I'm at the stage where this course has come at the perfect time, where I
Mhm.
can now focus on the next steps and repertoire and auditions and things like that.
Yes, and for you, Theodore, what are the next opportunities that are coming for you?
We shall see what happens. But we in the UK we have things called opera schools.
Yeah.
Essentially like an opera studio extension of the conservatoire that you're at. So I'll be joining the Royal Academy Opera in September.
Mhm.
And then I hope to be doing external things alongside that. I've just finished a contract at the Grange Festival in England as well. But we shall see what happens as far as that is concerned, waiting results on certain things. So
Mhm.
we shall see.
Yeah.
But the primary focus will be the Royal Academy Opera, and I'll be performing as Sprecher from the Magic Flute in March of next year.
Okay. And finally, as you know, both young artists, what is the mark that you want to leave and that you aspire to do in your young career? Because what do you want to say to young singers who are training right now on how to pursue this career path?
Well, uh, for young singers, I think it's important to be open-minded and to not give up.
Mhm.
You know, find the people that are right for you. I've met so many older singers from an older generation when I was younger, growing up in England. When I asked them what advice they could give me about going into this career, and a lot of them just said, "Don't do it."
Mm.
And I personally don't think that's very constructive. Um, and as far as leaving my mark, you know, I just want to, and the type of career that I want to have, I want to be someone that is open to new ideas and to new things, and so that be a person that can help opera to evolve as an art form, because we need to evolve
Mhm.
if we're to survive. I know that certainly that's the case in the UK. So if I can play my part in that, I'll be very happy, and of course doing the music great justice as well.
Mhm.
Yeah. I would also say, yeah, I agree. It is a very difficult path. All the things that we experience along the way. I mean, my mum was saying some people only do, a handful of job interviews in their life, whereas we are constantly going up, it's a very personal thing to share your voice as well. Our instrument is our body. And to be doing that constantly and the ups and the downs and everything, it's very dramatic. Um, but the reason that we do it is really because we love it, and the music is so beautiful and the stories are so important. And something that some people may not know about opera is that really the stories are so timeless and they're so relevant to today as well. And that is something that I think is really important to focus on, remembering why you're doing it, and just sharing stories, and that being the central part. I think today, like everything is so digital as
Yeah.
well, and um, opera is one of the few art forms that is, it's unamplified. It's completely just the human body. It's the voice. It's the instruments in a whole, and it's kind of there's something very beautiful about that. That it's so visceral. It's a live experience,
Mhm.
and it's really feel. And the feeling of singing opera is an incredible feeling. But also the feeling of experiencing it in an orchestra and feeling the emotions. A lot of people are moved to tears. Like they don't even know why in opera. They're like, wow, oh my gosh, that has really affected me. And yeah, I think that that's because the stories and the human connection is just such a huge part of opera. And I think that that's what I want to focus on. And yeah, bringing people back to that live experience and telling these important human stories. And yeah, that's what I would say.
All right. So we will be both watching you closely. So for the next concerts and the series of concerts of the Canadian Vocal Art Institute and its festival. So for you, Amelia, it's going to be on the 28th of July at Maison Symphonique. You will be performing in the Beethoven Ninth Symphony with the Orchestre de la Francophonie at the Maison Symphonique de Montréal. And you will be also performing in the Fledermaus on the 11th of August. And for you, Theodore, you will be performing on both nights of the opera with the Canadian Vocal Art Institute on the 10th and the 11th of August, the parodic four-note opera. So thank you both for having taken the time to speak with us today at Pan 360, and we'll see you around.
Thank you so much for
Okay.
having us.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye-bye.